Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tracing the wild, totally unexpected journey of something you probably haven't thought critically about since you were, 3 years old? We're looking at the evolution of nursery rhymes. Seriously, we're going to explore how humanity's oldest linguistic tradition morphed from these ancient, soothing lullabies all the way into a multi-billion-view digital empire.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the contrast here is genuinely shocking. Think about the phrase, daddy finger, where are you? Now, if you're a parent today, those words are probably permanently etched into your brain, right? But how exactly did we get here? How in the world do we transition from classic ink and paper historical collections of Mother Goose to massive, screen-based toddler entertainment and, get this, thumping electronic dance music remixes? To really understand this, we need to trace the lineage of these rhymes right back to their absolute origins.
So, historically speaking, the oldest children's songs on record are lullabies, which were literally meant to lull a child to sleep. Actually, the term lullaby itself likely comes from the lu, lu, or lala sounds mothers used centuries and centuries ago. I mean, we have records all the way from the Roman era of nurses singing la 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 aut dormi aut lacta. Fast forward to the 13th century and we start seeing French rhyming poems counting the days of the month. By 1698, the earliest recorded version of Pat a Cake pops up in an English play. But the real game changer? That was 1780, when a publisher named Thomas Carnan released Mother Goose's Melody. This was a monumental shift. It took these oral traditions, passed down through generations, and finally codified them into printed entertainment. But it does make you wonder, why have these simple little rhyming structures survived for centuries?
Matt brings us to Section 1, the brain on rhymes. Why rhymers are readers.
And this brilliantly illustrates that these simple little songs are actually doing some serious heavy lifting for human cognitive development. Based on research from the National Association for the Education of Young Children, nursery rhymes are essentially a full-blown brain workout. When kids hear rhymes, they're actively learning how to put sounds, vowels and consonants, together to actually make words. The research points out something absolutely crucial. Listening comprehension precedes reading comprehension. Basically, a child can't understand what they're reading if they haven't first learned to hear the language, practice the pitch, and really feel that rhythm. Plus, these rhymes almost always have a clear beginning, a middle, and an end, which perfectly teaches the fundamental concept of story sequence.
To break it down a bit, first, they build phonological awareness. That's recognizing sound patterns, which is the direct precursor to reading and spelling. They also introduce story sequences, as we just talked about. But here's the really surprising part. They teach basic math. Think of 5 Little Ducks or 10 in the Bed. These songs are literally teaching kids to count forward, subtract backward, and grasp concepts like size and weight. They're also expanding vocabulary and memory retention through just pure, relentless repetition. And lastly, they foster physical and social development. When kids are acting out the itsy-bitsy spider, they are actively developing fine motor skills and coordination. It's really a fully holistic educational tool, just completely disguised as a catchy tune.
Which leads us to Section 2. The Digital Nursery, a billion-view empire.
So, this cognitive stickiness perfectly explains why, when the digital age finally arrived, these rhymes didn't just survive, they absolutely exploded. 120 million. That is the number of subscribers for just one YouTube channel, CoComelon, worldwide. We are no longer talking about a parent singing quietly in a dimly lit nursery. Digital nursery rhymes are a total global juggernaut right now, capturing the attention of literally millions of toddlers all at the exact same time. And the sheer reach of these networks is just massive. CoComelon leads the pack, using 3D animation to really focus on social and emotional skills. But then you have Choo Choo TV out of India with over 50 million subscribers, and they focus heavily on phonics and numbers. Hoopla Kids brings in 20 million subscribers by beautifully integrating Indian culture and interactive learning. And then there are channels like LalaFun with nearly 13 million subscribers just pumping out thousands of animated videos. We're talking everything from The Wheels on the Bus to Baby Shark, heavily focused on dance and really engaging visuals. And what these channels are doing is actually pretty remarkable. They're facilitating second language acquisition on a global scale. Kids all over the world are learning English vocabulary and syntax simply by watching these highly produced, super repetitive videos.
Moving on to Section 3, the screen time dilemma. Finding the balance.
Now, with a scale of this magnitude comes immense scrutiny, naturally, and this is detailed in some really fascinating research from the International Journal of Creative Research Thoughts. On one hand, look, these videos absolutely do aid in second language acquisition. They expand vocabulary, they build that crucial phonological awareness we discussed earlier, and they introduce children to diverse cultural contexts. But the risks are just as heavily documented. The bright colors and super fast-paced editing, that can be highly overstimulating and even addictive for a developing brain. Excessive screen time can lead to passive consumption, which researchers note might actually stunt a child's independent imagination and creativity. I mean, instead of visualizing a story in their own minds, the image is just provided right there for them. And it can also lead to potential behavioral issues when that screen time is finally taken away.
So, the crucial point is this. The content itself works, but the medium requires moderation. The educational foundation of the nursery rhyme itself is incredibly sound. I mean, the rhymes are doing exactly what they've done for centuries. They're teaching language and math. The danger isn't the rhyme, it's the screen. The research very clearly states that parents need to encourage active participation. That means singing along, dancing, getting that face-to-face interaction going, rather than just letting a child passively stare at a device for hours on end.
And speaking of active participation, welcome to Section 4, Toddler Techno, the next generation of rhyme.
We have finally arrived at her last and, honestly, perhaps the most entertaining evolution of the nursery rhyme yet. Yes, you heard that right. DJs are now throwing legitimate baby raves. Take one parent's reaction to DJ Lenny Pierce, for example. He's an artist who takes classic songs like Five Little Ducks and remixes them into these heavy EDM and techno club bangers. This parent literally said, "I literally just put this in front of my toddler and he immediately started dancing. This is exactly the compromise I need when driving." Kids, and especially neurodivergent children who often respond really strongly to rhythmic beats, are absolutely loving it. And parents? Well, they're finally getting a playlist they can groove to without completely losing their minds. Fun fact, DJ Lenny Pierce actually tests his club-ready nursery rhymes on his own daughter before releasing them. It just brilliantly proves how ridiculously adaptable these ancient rhymes really are. I mean, they've survived being transferred from oral lullabies to printed books to YouTube 3D animations, all the way to a thumping techno bass line. No way, right?
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. As technology continues to advance at breakneck speed and our media consumption habits shift even further, what actually happens to this ancient human tradition? Will the nursery rhymes of the future still be intimately sung by parents at the side of a crib, or will they be entirely streamed, remixed, and delivered by digital algorithms? It's definitely something to chew on the next time you catch yourself randomly humming Old MacDonald.